It'll be
Time for the one time. It's the family bloodline.
yes, and once again we are back. Uh, what's good people? Yeah. We got Deuce and Jay Glass back in the building, getting ready to get back into another reading of Project 2025. Uh, giving it to the people live and directly from the actual source without adding anything that is not in it. It's a verbatim read, just so people can understand and know exactly what it says. So that's where we are. My man, what's been up with you?
Man, besides my video feed just dying out on me. Let me restart my cam. Other than that,
No, he took himself out. I don't think he meant to do that. He'll be back in a second. He'll be back in a split second, fixing his camera. But yeah, we are about to get back into Project 2025 live reading. For anybody who wants to take part or listen, if you want to actually hop on and give your live opinion, your comments of what you hear, by all means, you are more than welcome to. I will post the link on both platforms, both in TikTok as well as on the other platforms that I'm pushing out from my StreamYard. That way, you can go in and tell us what you think directly. All right. Whether you agree with some of the things we're reading, or if you disagree with some of the things you're reading, or even if you have commentary on what we're saying, if you think that we've read something wrong, or if you think we've exaggerated something from the actual filings or the readings that we have in front of us. My house is pretty cold today for some reason, but I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not going to change it. But we'll give Deuce a second to hop back in. Man, for some reason I've been spelling that I don't know. That's from speaking French. Uh, not putting the Spanish spelling on it. But yeah, we'll wait for him to hop back in, and we'll continue. We are going to figure out exactly which part we want to pick back up on. I think we've for the most part we've read the portion going through and over education, right? I want that to be bigger. So I'll put it back up in a second here. There we go. That's a lot better. So we've read the education piece of this, and let me actually get to, because I was looking through the table of contents a second ago, just to see what else we had left, and there's quite a few things left that I'd like to jump into and actually read a bit and continue to discover. So we were at the Department of Education, and I will make that bigger because I'm a little bit older, and I'll start scrolling down to where we left off. I don't want to leave anything out when we begin to read sections. Right, I want to make sure that we read a section in its entirety. That way, we're doing it justice, and we're not skipping over something that might actually be like really important. So again, this is for educational purposes, so we know exactly what this is saying. A lot of this stuff, uh, dang it, little silly little bug. Been trying to get rid of these things. A lot of this stuff is pretty awful, just to be honest with you. So my man just hopped back in. Here he comes back to the stage. Oh, that's not the yeah, this way. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, that's a better view. And so I'm looking at where we left off. We may have to do just a little backtracking, or if you want to give a quick overview of the part that you remember us reading.
All right, let me go back. I'm skimming through now because I know we're still on education.
Yes. Yeah.
Department of Education collects. I know we did a deep talk on the loans.
Yep.
You know what? I wrote it down in my book, man, because my memory ain't what it used to be.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right. Fair enough. Fair
It
enough.
could have been 331. I thought we were past 331.
We started on 331.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we started on 329, and
Oh, here
we were at charter schools. We read through that civil rights data collection. I think that's where we might actually be.
Yeah, because I don't remember talking about the non-binary.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we might have mentioned it, but I don't know, just for uh, continuity's sake, I'll continue back at that point so that we can rehash anything that we might have gone over and remember where we picked up off. So just a quick question on your end. Where are you at with this document so far? Like, I know you've read it once, but going through and rereading it, what's your general overview?
Man, my general overview, man, I don't want to put it in the same vein. Let me try to find something different because my initial thought was to say Hitlerish.
Oh wow, okay.
Not with so much the policies, right?
Hmm.
But with the ingenuity it took to design this, man, and think about the layers of it. You think about Hitler,
Yeah,
terrible guy, awful dude. Dude was an evil genius.
yeah,
Dude was like the ultimate Marvel DC villain, right?
yeah.
And if that dude was Doctor Doom wrote a manifesto, this would be kind of like it, man.
Oh wow.
So the structure, the layers, and the depth they went to
Mm,
create this document, and to think about chess, man, 2, 3, 4 moves ahead. The thought behind it is like, wow.
yeah,
I just wish they channeled this towards fixing actual issues in our country and not trying to create the country in the image that they see that's only good for a few and not for all Americans.
right, right.
Um, yeah, that's my overall view of it. Now, what about you?
I'm on par with what you're talking about,
Yeah.
man. I think it's hey, cuzzo, what's happening? As always, if you ever want to hop in, by all means, wah wah. But I'm on par with you. I think just looking at the sheer strategy and layout of the document,
Mm-hmm.
um, these folks have taken direct effort to to put in place measures, not just to affect the next 3, 4, 5 years, but we're looking at 10, 15, 20, 30ish years down the road, right? That have direct and deep and long lasting impact to American citizens,
Mm-hmm.
not just to American citizens, but to our democracy as a whole,
Right.
as we know it. So I personally think that at this point, the things that I'm looking at and the way that I'm reading it, the individuals who are on par with this isn't a conservative document. I'm going to remove that from this language, although it is called a conservative document. Um, this,
Okay.
as far as I know, conservatives, the conservatives that I know personally,
Okay.
this is a hope, right? This is a hope. The conservatives that I know personally wouldn't be they wouldn't align themselves with this document because this is an extremist document.
So would you say that the Republican Party, would you say that it's changed since the Republican Party, modern Republican Party?
Mhm.
I would say that had two massive changes. There's two
Okay.
like points in time, right? The Tea Party movement, which I hate that because I love tea, bro. Like when I heard the Tea Party movement at first, I thought we about to get down with some loose leaves, man.
Get back
I
out.
love tea. Yeah.
Right.
Why steal that name? Why take that from me? So the Tea Party movement and then the MAGA movement. I
Okay.
think as far as modern Republicans, modern conservative, the Republican Party as a whole, I think the Tea Party introduced a new layer of extreme conservatism. And
Okay.
then I think the MAGA movement is a whole nother movement, which I would agree. I think I've talked to some conservatives. They don't align themselves with the MAGA agenda.
Wanda says she loves she's a tea lover too.
Who doesn't love tea, man? Like, why pick that name? Why take that from us, man? They could have called it the robotism movement or something. I don't know. Pick something people don't like.
Right.
Not the Tea Party.
The zucchini movement.
I mess with zucchini, bro.
Oh man, you can't.
Yeah, zucchini.
I want to throw you off your thought.
Okay. All right, I'm just saying, don't come for zucchini and what's the other fruit, the other veggie that goes with it, man? Zucchini and
trash.
squash.
Well, I can actually stomach squash, but zucchini is a no.
All right, well,
I can't do zucchini. I can't.
Well,
I refuse.
How you feel about zucchini is how I feel about this thus far.
Well, okay, yeah, facts.
The zucchini movement.
Yeah, good child. Ooh, off the hook. I gotta come for zucchini, and I'll tell y'all why maybe Friday, and we'll come back to that. But you were mentioning the conservatives that you know.
Yeah. Old fashioned type, man, but also the ones I know. Let me ask you this: what's the age demographic of the ones you talk to?
So the ages of the conservatives that I know directly and personally range from roughly, I want to say about 68, 65, up to you start to see a very extreme shift once you hit the 42, 41 area.
Mm.
And then after that, you have a little bit of a younger generation starting at 40 through I want to say 28, 29ish, that you can see the transition and the shift
Into what?
to where the views are becoming a bit more extreme, and they're removing themselves from like an actual original conservative thought to being more aligned with MAGA responses. I can't even say MAGA thought, but MAGA responses.
Mhm.
Because
So,
go ahead.
ain't that crazy, bro? This dude, Donald Trump, is what, like 1,000 years old, man? Like Trump. When they created the wheel, this dude was around, bro.
He was looking at it.
Yeah.
Knock that corner off.
It's too square. It's too square.
Right.
I can't think of another time in history, man, where somebody from Trump was like what, an extreme baby boomer, maybe the silent generation. I know him. I know.
Sure. Yeah.
Joe is.
Yeah.
He's right there on the cusp.
Right.
He's inspired these young cats, man, because it's the same. The old heads, the OGs are more throwback conservatives, right? The ones me and you grew up with, the Newt Gingriches of the world, right?
Well,
So, well, he ain't the best. He ain't saying he's good. I don't like him either.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying.
Understood what he was. We knew his game plan, right?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
This new one, man, the 40, 45s and under, they're enamored with Trump and the MAGA movement, right?
Yeah.
Which it's interesting to me because Donald is so old, bro.
Well, I'll tell you what else is old in America.
What's that?
And that's hatred.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, and let me pull back.
Not Bethesda.
She said Bethesda. So not I don't even want to just simply it's divisiveness, right?
Okay.
Being divisive and the game of it. and knowing how to orchestrate uh, that stream of empathy and that's woven into the American society and
Mm,
manipulated. Right? It's such an old enamored idea in
mhm.
our society that it's easy for people to grab onto it and gravitate to it and live inside of it. The hard thing for Americans to do, I think, is to look at things through objective lenses and say, they're playing a game with us again.
The objective lenses, man. Don't you think that's something that has to be taught, or do you think that's just innate in humans?
It's not innate in humans.
Okay,
It's not
okay,
innate in humans. Yeah,
okay.
no, I don't think it's innate in humans at all because we
Yeah,
have to go through. There's a lot of there's a long process for us to go through to reach objectivity,
yeah.
especially when describing moving through the process of seeing past emotion,
Mhm,
right? So
mhm.
so for example, right, if I was to advocate for former President Trump, um, and simply say, listen, as far as the American blue collar labor force, carpenter, the skilled workers, he actually did do well by them, right? By putting different things and measures in place to stop China's intellectual property theft and to stop bringing those types of imports to us to where we had to begin to rely back on American steel for projects. Now, prices went up, got it, tracking.
Okay,
I
you
know,
know
I
exactly.
saw, I know,
I had the rub. I had the rub going on. Okay,
I
this is the
know.
it's getting expensive rub. Okay,
Yes,
all right.
yes. Don't get me wrong, but even with that being said, those steps that were being taken, uh, good college words tonight. But those steps that were being taken, I can see that as an objectively in a move of objectivity and saying that was something that was done that would eventually better the American society.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. I want you to please elaborate on that point, man.
sure, sure. So in
Don't
order
make me
for us
pour a glass
to
of
become
whiskey.
in order for us to become independent on other sources, it's going to hurt, right? And because of the way that we've imported a lot of our products, especially when it comes to materials, um, we're used to getting cheaper materials from other places in the world that keep costs low in building for construction sites, right? And sometimes the way it looks on the surface, if you don't do a deep dive into it, but the way it looks on the surface is because those costs are staying lower, our journeymen, our apprenticeships, so on and so forth, are able to make a sustainable living, right? So the costs are actually given over to our labor force.
Hmm.
However, when we cut that out and we do end up pulling that surplus gets small and we're forced into supply and demand, well, then, yeah, it's going to hurt until America can build that back because we're not there. We've relied on an outsourcing entity for so long that we haven't essentially built our own coffers up so that we can maximize our own profits. We can maintain our own uh, materials and industry. And so the cost is going to increase because supply and demand is going to increase because there's a lack. There's a lack of materials at that point, right? And it hurts. That hurts. It feels like immediately it feels like it hurts society. But in the long run, if we actually would maintain more with having our own materials first and using external sources, resources from China or from India or from Japan, right? If we maintain our own meat materials first, in the long run, it works out better because we're able to put people back to work. We directly begin to decrease the export import taxes as well as funding monies that we have to spend on bringing that stuff in, the shipping cost associated with it, the logistics behind it, paying the fee for the logistics behind it, which increase the materials in and of themselves because now
Yeah,
that cost is being passed on to the customer.
it's always passed on to us.
Absolutely. So if we maintain those types of things ourselves, then we, in the long run, will become better for it. but initially it's going to hurt. Initially it's going to hurt. That's why I say that.
You know, I'm stuck, man, because I want to argue against you,
Mhm.
but it's the way you put that on is so it was elegant, bro. Like it's good. Because I'm thinking about the global marketplace, okay?
Right.
And we're pulling in cheaper products from other places that make them cheaper,
Yeah.
which helps America's bottom line. Now, going to your proposal, it's closed borders, pretty
Mhm.
much. It's going back to, I want to say nationalism, but man, I would never say that. I don't want to say America first phrase. Putting America as in the center.
Yeah.
I will say that. It's gonna be a rough patch because you're talking about a reset of a good portion of the economic system.
Yeah.
All right. The base product's gonna cost more. You got to pay those workers more. And
Mhm.
the system is not elevated. The floor is not gonna rise simultaneously, right? It's gonna
Yeah.
be it's gonna be in waves. It's gonna be some crushing moments.
Yeah. So the initial pressure of it hurts, but for a long term journey, right? It helps us, right? It helps the actual worker. It helps the blue collar worker. It helps the American family.
But name, I don't think there's a country in America. See, America is sectionalism. There's not a country on earth, developed country, that is fully self-sufficient.
Oh, I agree. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. And that's not a part of the claim, right? I'm just
Okay.
saying, yeah. So again, I'm simply talking about uh, the the um, the way Trump went after the intellectual properties from China,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So objectively speaking, right? If you cut that and you slice that and you say, hey, you've got to give him that win. A lot of Americans can't objectively see that and say, okay,
You
okay,
okay? All right. Let's talk about that. I was looking at this documentary that did a deep dive on the Dearborn project. You remember he went up to Dearborn's Ohio, right? Is that Michigan? Ohio?
Michigan, Michigan,
Michigan.
yeah.
All right, Michigan, Ohio is one of those states. Forgive me from the listeners in Michigan, Ohio. I'm not saying your states are the same. I am saying I fly over both of those states. Now, what I will mention is,
Man, shout out to Michigan and Ohio. You just got slaughtered.
oh, I hate Michigan, man. They beat my team. I would never like Michigan.
Right, right.
There was, and I got to get the facts. I hate saying there was a factory that Trump went up there and
Yep,
said that they were going to stay. He's going to put money to them to stay,
yep,
right?
yep, yep,
And he said it's going to bring this amount of jobs.
yep,
This many people are going to be employed. It's going to stabilize economic market in that area.
yep.
What ended up happening was not what he said, man.
Yeah,
Uh, that company found other ways to outsource the product. They did not hire the people that they said they were going to hire, and that place is still at the same status or worse than they were before when
yeah,
that
and
promise was made, man.
yeah,
So I say that to say it's not an easy feat to bring some silos of industry back to America to make them and have them produced here,
yeah.
right? Holistically, we're in a global economy for better and for worse,
Hmm.
and the disconnect not only causes economic trials and tribulations here, it's going to cause that overseas too,
Sure.
which makes enemies.
Yeah,
So I think it's definitely a layered thing. But I see what you were saying. He's saying America first, blue collar workers, all that stuff. They loved it. It sounds great. But
yeah,
we got to do a segment where we actually dig into some of the policies and some of the things he did and actually grade them. If it was good, hey, thumbs up. I'll
yeah.
thumbs up them. If it was bad, it didn't go through as planned. All right, then it was just more hot air coming out.
Sure. Yeah, and that part's not removed either.
Okay.
Right. So when talking about politicians, we gotta judge them by their fruits because uh, and he's not removed from it. Any
Mhm.
politician isn't removed from it, but I'm not going to simply lump them in and say that they're all the same. No, because
Fair.
like when in the ocean of lies, Trump's an island, right? He's told the most out of any president, right? So I'm not saying that he's just overall best. I'm just simply saying objectively on some of the things that he did push to do. When we have to take an objective stance, and this is just a surface, right? I'm
Yeah.
not getting into, like, for instance, the topic that you were just talking about, because going deeper into that direct actual story, I was looking at that. The town that he went in, and I can't remember if it was directly Dearborn or a town around it.
It might not be there. It might not have been there.
No, it was somewhere in that area, and I
Yeah.
think it actually was Ohio, a town in Ohio. But
Oh,
whatever
it's-
town it was, yeah, he had promised that he had supposedly made a deal with the company, and I can't remember if it was it was an outsourced company. They were supposed to come into the town. They were supposed to bring millions of jobs into the town. They were supposed to build this huge plant. The town ended up pretty much going bankrupt trying to get funds for the area. They eminent domained a bunch of people, so on and so forth, just for the building not to actually be built and the jobs not to actually come. Youngstown, furthering that, the
Mhm.
Biden administration did come in and begin to complete that task.
He ain't gonna get credit though.
He ain't going to
He
get
ain't gonna
credit.
get Sleepy Joe credit, man.
No, he won't. But yeah,
He
Trump
keeps
failed
not.
on that. Yeah, Trump
Yeah.
failed on that. And even when it comes to let's be honest about it, simply throwing out the labels of who's a border czar. Like VP Harris was never commissioned the border czar. So that's a movement of misinformation that's
The
been
border
thrown.
czar.
Yeah, that's what they've titled it, right?
I hate how czar is creeping up into our lexicon and politics.
Yeah, especially since a lot of people don't even know where it comes from. The word czar, they don't even know how to spell it. If you say, "Hey, what is a czar? Where'd it come from?"
Z, of course.
See, no, we can't even continue that actual conversation because you didn't even start there with a C, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't even understand that it came from the Russian dynasties,
Yeah.
right? So let's not
Dynasties.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the term that's being thrown out about it, and that was something that never happened. It never happened. President Biden never appointed her that.
Okay.
It's a lane of misinformation, and it's distraction.
They're throwing that at her. They throwing that at her hard.
And unfortunately, again, when we look at some of the things that are being said and hurled objectively, we have to take a step back, regardless of whether or not we like them or dislike them. If it's something false, we have to objectively move through our emotions and our feelings and our loyalties and be like, that's not what happened. As a matter of fact, when you take a look at the last 2-3 presidents, President Obama being that guy twice, and then Trump, and then even into the President Biden administration, something that I learned not too long ago from my buddy Andrew Fishkin is President Obama had deported more people than any president. And I think I said that before, right? His nickname was the deporter in chief.
Yeah.
And that's not talked about objectively.
No, it's not.
So that's why I said no. It's something that we have to figure out how to get to, because it's not an innate thing for us to just simply objectively look at something and come to the correct conclusion about it. You know, this is my nerdy side of it. It's our Vulcan and human side, like on Star Trek with Spock, that come into conflict. So
yeah,
that's just how I feel about it.
I mean, and just to give you a quick fact on that, man, like Obama, he deported 3 million people.
Golly.
3 million people. The next two, who you think the next one is?
The next one, I want to say either Clinton or Bush. And W, yeah.
Yeah, 2 million. Who's third?
And then third is going to be I'm not going to say Reagan. That's not that. The third one is going to be, give me a second. I don't want to say Clinton because I don't think Clinton was after it like that.
Nah, Clinton was on the Sachs after Lewinsky, bro. He wasn't on it like that. Clinton was Sachs, Lewinsky, and locking us up in presence. You know,
right. So it might actually be a tie between, if memory serves me right, former President Trump and President Biden.
It's actually Magic Don Juan is Teflon Don, Lil Donnie. Will Hands Gunny. Yeah,
so it's him and who else?
I just only looked at the top three. So it's the porter in chief Obama.
Okay.
It's the decider W, and yeah, Teflon Don over there.
Yeah. And because I read an article a few weeks ago, and I think President Trump and President Biden were very close in numbers as far as deportation goes. I can be wrong. I'll have to look that back up. But I thought that they were pretty close. They were pretty close.
Yeah, because Trump was 118. Let's see. So after Barack W. Oh wow, I took up for you, bruh. You were on the Arsenio Hall show. Wow.
Clinton.
Clinton, man, the ones that people say was the first honorary black president in some circles.
I never understood that foolishness, but
I never understood that either, man, especially when that 3 strikes you out rule came out.
hit us. Goodness
yeah.
gracious.
It was Clinton.
Okay. All right. Well, at least my memory ain't failing me too far.
Nah, you on point with that.
All right. So anyway, back to the original thing, but yeah, that's why I say, what do you think? What do you think
About
it? You think the American public is innately objective, or we move subjectively, and we can get to objectivity, or we stay in subjectivity as far as that's concerned?
we live in subjectivity, man. We
Oh,
live
wow.
in subjectivity and a paradigm designed on our own perceptions.
Okay.
Actually, first part I say is true. I don't even think that the paradigm of our own perceptions is a true statement, because he was cool. He played the sax on the Arsenio Hall show. I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah.
You're right. I think we're easily swayed, we being the American public.
Okay.
I don't even know if we take the time to fully invest the aptitude to develop our own perceptions. Just go towards that shiny thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It sounds nice, and we align with it. But okay, I was watching something on YouTube, man. Abba and Preach. Abba was in this Discord, a Zoom call with a couple of people, and Nick Fuentes. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with him.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And Abba was bringing out the rifle, pow, going right at him, man. There was a guy named Sneeko who's he's mixed. I know he's Hispanic and some other race.
Okay.
As far as his makeup, right? Fuentes wants a all white. He wants America to look like sliced bread. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the bleached white sliced bread, not that. What's that one? The Iron Kids bread or something like that. That has a little bit of tan to it. Not that one. He wants us to be pure white, right?
Yep.
And Sneeko was siding with Nick Fuentes when Abba pointed out the fact, do you realize that in Nick Fuentes' America, you would not even exist? And Sneeko was like, bye, 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 bye. He said, white only. Your parents would have never met. Dude, it was like he started buffering in his mind as he thought about it.
Wow. He took him back before loving.
Yeah. So I think some people don't even put that amount of time or dedicate that much time to see if the action or the shiny thing that they're going towards actually aligns with their personal values. It's just, my friends are on it. It seems cool. It's catchy. All right, I'm gonna roll with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I think so I've been looking at TikTok a lot lately, and that's something that I noticed, right? My cousin came on last week and he was talking about the uptick in support that former President Trump is getting from our community.
Oh, yeah.
Initially, and maybe it's just because, the algorithm of TikTok has been listening to us talk, but I began to see a lot of that happening. And it dawned on me, looking at a lot of these folks on TikTok, and how they're actually bandstanding and grandstanding for the former president. They're not doing it with any genuineness. They're grifting.
Grifting is the term. Yes. Pearly things. That's what I learned what grifting was. Yeah.
These guys are serious. They're Trump supporters hopping into their lives and paying these guys tons of money to speak foolish rhetoric. Like this one dude was on earlier today, and I've been in their lives like, hey, you making your money. I see what you're doing. Your grift is real.
Yeah.
But he was like, give me 100 hearts. Give me 100 hearts. 99 cents, right? Is a rose. Is a rose.
Oh wow.
And they're giving it to him. And he's
Yeah.
making it hand over fist.
Right.
They're doing galaxies. They're sending this guy's cranes. It's like $5 some odd on. And I was like, these folks don't realize that they're getting grifted. They're seriously getting taken.
Yeah.
Just for this guy. And they won't invite anybody else on really because they know exactly what they're doing.
They got to vet you, man. You coming through too smart, bro. You can't do that.
Yeah, I know.
You know what you should do? Take that picture down behind you and put like a sexy red picture up there.
Oh,
Instant access.
Done.
Instant access.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So, and this is what I'm seeing. There was a guy tap dancing 45 so hard on the Breakfast Club this morning. Like, this is a real. Did
you just highlight that comment for free? Hold on. What was our 99 cents?
Hey, and I'm watching these guys getting paid, and for a second I was like,
it seems like an easy path. It's like an easy path.
You know, I can't. I won't sell myself out like that just for money.
I can't either, man. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't taste right, man. It's like trying to down a bottle of castor oil, man. It just ain't right.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right at all.
But you're right. I think money, man, it does something to us being people, especially Americans.
Yeah,
capitalists, the West. It's not right, and you're right. People do grift for that, man. They grift hard, bro. They solid grifters.
It's crazy. I've been watching it, like almost dumbfounded. Like these folks are making hundreds of dollars a day simply saying foolishness, and then it's insidious because they'll say a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense, and then they'll throw religion in there to bring people in even further. And try to tie the two together, and they have no bearing on one another whatsoever, but they'll continue to do it. Man, I got these daggone gnats that are driving me crazy in the basement. Cleared them out from upstairs, but down here they're alive. And I got fruit from anyway. There's fruit and alcohol, but it's such a crazy thing to see. That I'm like, people really will sell themselves out just to make $1. Like this is real.
Yeah.
And they're playing on it. It's craziness. But anyway. So yeah, the West. We're wicked for that part. So let's get back into it. I will pick it back up on page 331, Civil Rights Data Collection. Civil Rights Data Collection, bottom of the page. Civil Rights Data Collection. On December 13th, and also I just want to remind everybody that a lot of the stats that are being produced by this document are being studied and pushed out by the exact same people who wrote this document. So you can't really put too much trust in them. All right.
That's what we call circular logic.
Circular logic. Circular logic. On December 13th, 2021, OCR published a notice concerning proposed revisions to OCR's mandatory civil rights data collection, CRDC, in which it proposed to create and collect data on a new non-binary, I remember this now, a new non-binary sex category in addition to the current male or female sex categories, and to retire data collection that indicates the number of, number one, high school level interscholastic athletic sports in which only male and female students participate. Two, high school level athletics teams in which only male or female students participate. And three, participants on high school level interscholastic athletic sports teams in which only male or only female students participate. These perceived changes are contrary to law, fail to take account for student privacy interests and statutory protections favoring parental rights under the Protection of Pupils' Rights Amendment, and jettison longstanding data collections that assist in the enforcement of Title IX.
I love the fact that they eased in. Just think about this. The Heritage Foundation is concerned about student privacy.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see those cats sitting around the table smoking their cigars and their little pipes or whatever. Who wouldn't care about student privacy? Yeah, that's a good one. Okay.
Man, guess who just hopped on the TikTok?
Who that?
England.
Chris.
One
snap. What up? What it do?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he in the loo now, huh? I'm not
Yep.
putting that man all business out there. He back.
Right. He back.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, he knew who you were too. That mac and cheese.
Bruh, it's coming, man. I put out in the text, name the place, man, 2025. None of y'all, not a damn one of y'all replied. Right? I'm waiting on the
Uh,
reply.
we'll fill everybody in on that in a second. He laughing on TikTok also. All right. So it continues as it says, the new administration must quickly move to rescind these changes, which add a new non-binary sex category to OCR's data collection and issue a new CRDC that will collect data directly relevant to OCR statutory enforcement authority. Student assistance general provisions, federal Perkins. Ah, yes, we did
Oh
read.
yeah,
Yeah.
let me
Go
add
ahead.
something on that, and then maybe we can skip ahead to where we were at. The non-binary. What's the worst thing that can happen about that? What's Oh, hold on, man! Don't give them hookahs. No, it's not. Dang, I do zucchinis, I do hookah. Am I part of the Heritage Foundation? I need to ask myself. I need to check my memberships. What do you think about the non-binary statement in there? The clause, like objectively,
I,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is what I'll say about that.
Mhm.
So the part that I can say directly, right, is, and I think I stressed this the last time I talked about it, and that emphasis was we do not need uh, biological. Give me 1 second. I got to do something.
Mhm.
Make sure I got this right because they said you're echoing on my
Me.
other end. Yeah, but I think it's because of me.
All right,
I
so I
think
can
it's
put
because,
the pods in if so
no,
if I need
no,
to.
it's not because of you. It's
Okay.
something that I'll have to fix on my end. But the idea of again, people identify the way they want to, but
Mhm.
in the spirit of keeping people safe, uh, biological men do not need to be involved in contact sports with biological women.
Yeah.
And so being very it's a very ambiguous and disingenuous, I think, movement to add the phrase non-binary when it comes to, especially when we're talking about high school sports.
Hmm.
I think it's dangerous, and I think that's how people end up getting hurt.
Hmm.
I think that if they're if
I need to ask myself. I need to
oops,
check
my
my
bad,
numbers.
if people want to have those types of avenues, right,
Mhm.
well then go ahead and create the uh the space for transgender women, transgender men basketball. That way they have their own thing. They have their own rules, and they're still playing with people of equal sorts, as it were. Right. So
So
all transgender women play with all in an all transgender women league. All transgender men play in an all transgender men league.
so I people have to watch stuff to generate revenue, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna push it any further than that. I will highlight. I will say,
Yeah, bro. I am. I got you. I'm not
uh,
disagreeing with you.
but it sounds like to me the easier path will be transgender women. So they just play in the. I'm not advocating for this, but instead of like just play in
The
the
men's
league.
league. No, they can't. They
Why?
can't.
Why?
They can't play in the men's league. You know why? And
I mean,
I'll be if I get in trouble for saying it, well then I'll be in trouble for saying it. But the reason why transgender men can't women won't play transgender women won't play in biological men leagues is because they don't have the skill as it is.
oh,
Right?
mm,
Let's be
yeah,
honest about it. That's why we have the
mm,
swimmers,
yeah,
right? we have the biological male who's trans who began to compete against biological female swimmers
They
and
get that
began
physical
to
edge.
do them bad,
Yeah,
like no contest bad.
yeah,
So no, that's not okay. It's not a thing.
yeah.
These athletes are working out. They're doing the best they can at the levels that they're at, and now to have somebody who comes in who is simply built and born different just crush you. That's not okay.
No, you're
It's
right, man. They would, because the way they win some of these matches, man, they destroyed him almost as bad as Ray Gunn destroyed
don't.
breakdancing in the Olympics. You know, it's not coming back for 2028.
Ray Gun blew breakdancing out the water, and she was so foul for it.
Blew without the brakes.
Yo.
LA said, not in our house.
Not at all. Like Ray Gun just did the whole art form dirty. Did it
Oh
dirty.
man. Yeah.
I've been on that all week because it's been hilarious. Like,
I've been practicing the routine.
oh, I can't practice that routine. I'm too old for that. Like I remember doing that when I was about 5 or 6. And then I actually learned how to break dance, right? So no, I can't. Like she wasn't supposed to beat her. She wasn't supposed to beat her. Let's just.
It reminded me of a newborn baby trying to learn how to use his arms and limbs too. Like that's
Right. And then turning around and looking like, nah, don't pose like that. You didn't earn the right to pose like that in a b-boy style. You're not
Hey,
a b-girl.
next time I see you, Justin or Chris, bro, I'm coming at y'all like this.
Not the kangaroo. Hey, even Chris said she knew she was wrong being there. He just did the kangaroo, Chris.
Chris better not act like he don't know me, bro. If Chris ain't meet me doing this,
Oh, she paused in the air, came down and hopped left and right like, check this. I'm not finished yet. Y'all got to get this issue. I'm finna work it out. Yeah, she did that.
Yeah,
Ray Gun.
no cap.
She got single-handedly Ray Gun got breakdancing removed from the Olympics. I'm just
Blew the brakes off of it.
oh man, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that. Okay.
Oh,
So we can, since we did actually go through this part of it, the federal purchase loan, so on and so
do
forth.
you remember the top of 333 work with Congress to use earliest available legislation vehicle to prohibit the department from using any appropriations? I'm reading that first bold block. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
That doesn't.
So perfect. I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. This is where we are. Non-discrimination on the basis of sex and education programs or activities receiving federal financial assistance, Title IX.
Yeah.
It begins to describe Title IX. Okay. With this notice of proposed rulemaking published on July 12th, 2022, the Biden Education Department seeks to gut the hard-earned rights of women with its changes to the department's regulations implementing Title IX, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex in educational programs and activities. Instead, the Biden administration has sought to trample women's and girls' athletic opportunities and due process on campus, threaten free speech and religious liberty, and erode parental rights in elementary and secondary education regarding sensitive issues of sex. The new administration should take the following steps. Work with Congress to use the earliest available legislative vehicle to prohibit the department from using any appropriations or from otherwise enforcing any final regulation under Title IX promulgated by the department during the prior administration. Commence a new agency rulemaking process to rescind the current administration's Title IX regulations. Restore the Title IX regulations promulgated by then Secretary Betsy DeVos. No, thank you. On May 19th.
Oh man, I thought I would never see
Ever again in life.
Imagine something that Betsy made. No, bro. I'd rather see Ray Gun again. No.
And define sex under Title IX to mean the only biological sex recognized at birth. I can agree with that last sentence.
I'm not mad at that. Damn it. We're agreeing with Betsy.
Yeah, I can agree with the last sentence. I do agree, however, that and maybe I need to go back and look at President Biden's administration's movement of Title IX. However, if it stripped the definition of sex under Title IX to mean, or they did because it's non-binary, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. So that last sentence, I agree with.
Mhm.
It does need to be re-implemented. We have to keep people safe. Yeah. Even Wanda's saying she agrees with it. That part, I think we are all in agreement with.
Yeah, we
I think
are.
we
Yeah.
are. Work with Congress to amend Title IX to include due process requirements, define sex under Title IX to mean only biological sex recognized at birth, and strengthen protections for faith-based education institutions, programs, and activities. And that part I'm not sure about because that seems again, it's sly. It's sly and it's slick and it's tricky. So I talked a while ago about what Louisiana has done and what some of their schools are implementing, which is putting the Ten Commandments in classes.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I don't agree with that unless they open that up to every religion, to allow every religion to place its rules inside of the classroom to be observed by everyone else, especially if those classes are receiving federal dollars. And I think that this
Even
begins
the
to become,
Jedi's.
say again,
Even the Jedi's.
hey, look, I'm thinking about them Jedi's pretty strong.
Hey,
I need to go check
facts.
them guys out.
Facts.
Don't you? I'm about to say you finna show a tattoo of Jedi's.
Nah, nah. I
Oh,
ain't gonna do that, man. I'm
I was
thinking
about to
about
say,
my Jedi name though. We got to come up with some cool
yeah, you the goat
name.
if you would have had that. I'm telling you.
Here's my Jedi tats. Nah.
Right. Hey, I was going to be on one because I want to be a Jedi so bad before I pass. Um, but yeah, I agree with Wanda. Church and state should stay separate always. It's
Yes.
supposed to.
Yes.
It's supposed to. And to begin to mix the two is dangerous because again, that would simply mean it would state a falsehood, right? Going back to what we were talking about earlier, being objective and being subjective and thinking about these things. America is not a Christian nation.
No.
It's not. And I would directly challenge people to actually see how the Constitution was formed, where that thought came from, so on and so forth. And I think people would begin to hopefully come off of that false narrative that America is a Christian country.
America is a country where we can practice
Yeah,
Christianity.
yeah,
That's yeah.
absolutely, where we're free to practice Christianity. Yeah, you ain't know Jedi was a religion?
Yeah.
Oh, cuzzo, yeah, there
Yeah.
is. Yes, it's a real religion. Yes, it's a real religion, and I might have to check into it because I want a lightsaber.
I want a lightsaber, bro, and I want to rock a robe all day. If I could put on one piece of clothing and cover my whole body and it's cool, I'm in.
It's easy.
I'm in. I'm in.
Saves so much time and
Yeah.
effort.
And
Like,
the sandals, bro, let your toes breathe, man. You gotta let the toes breathe.
I agree, but golly, I just want to like that's cool. That's
Yeah.
it's almost Miles Davis cool. Chris said, "Good Lord, y'all need Jesus." Hey,
Or
you better calm
or
down, Walker. You better calm down. I ain't even.
I don't know how I was gonna do it from this way.
Oh Lord. Oh
Give you a
goodness.
little shoulder blade right there, a little shoulder blade action.
That's hilarious.
You don't want all this is under construction right now. I gotta peel back some layers.
Man, look, I feel like my man who was yelling at the ocean. My beach body is on layaway.
Mm.
You finna get what you finna get right now. Just cut it out, Wanda. Cut it out. Good Lord. Oh, goodness. Holy cow. By the way, Chris, tell Katrina and the family we said what's up. All right. Let me get back to reading. Let me get back to reading. Where were we at? Okay, work with Congress to amend Title IX to include due process requirements. Okay, I read that. So
yeah.
okay, here we
I
are.
think the next one,
The Trump administration's.
that kind of just wrapping up what you just said.
Yeah. The Trump administration's 22 Title IX regulation protected the foundational right to due process for those who are accused of sexual misconduct. The Biden administration's proposed change to the interpretation of Title IX disposes of these rights. The next administration should move quickly to restore the rights of women and girls and restore due process protections for accused individuals. That is hypocritical.
How so?
The movement to get rid of or to ban abortions came from the same side of the aisle.
Yeah. Well, as Trump would say, he didn't ban abortions. He put it back on the states.
Sure,
That's his technical. That's how he slithers out of that.
sure, and
Yeah.
I can't argue or fight with that
Mhm.
because again, objectively, I can't. There's no argument for me to have with it. Subjectively, I'd like to go in, but I'll keep it objective at this point because yeah, he's actually right. It did simply give that right back to the states.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there are a lot of states who have, but it's still the same side of the aisle, right? Still the
Hmm.
same side of the aisle, but there are a lot of states who have gone to extreme lengths to ban abortions. Unfortunately, so
And that same Supreme Court that he put in place, 6-3, right?
mhm.
The same Supreme Court he put in place, I think they were reviewing a case to actually ban Plan B,
Yes,
which that takes
yes,
it away for all states, right?
yeah,
That's not putting it into the hands of the states. That's you're removing it. So
yeah,
it's saying the silent part out loud.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I know that there's conversation to be had about make abortions great again. Holy cow! Wow,
Wow, that's a t-shirt right there.
that's
That's
crazy.
a t-shirt right there.
Oh, I'm putting that up. That is wow.
Hey, gangster.
Oh,
And it fits the letters too. That's what's up.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, tell Dirt to make that hat.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh man, that's a good plug, cousin. Okay, all right. At the same time, there is no scientific or legal basis for redefining sex, which I agree with,
Yeah.
uh, to sexual orientation and gender identity in Title IX. Such a change misrepresents the U.S. Supreme Court's opinion in Bostock, threatens the American system of federalism, removes important due process protections for students in higher education, and puts girls and women in danger of physical harm. Facilitating social gender transition without parental consent increases the likelihood that children will seek hormone treatments such as puberty blockers, which are experimental medicational interventions. Research has not demonstrated positive effects and long term outcomes of these treatments, and the unintended side effects are still not fully understood. There is truth in that. Um, I have to, when it comes to that part of things, uh, children transitioning.
Hmm.
I think it should be depending on the age. It should if it's at 18, it needs to be a 5 year plan. If it's anything before that, it needs to be a 10 to 15 year plan. And the reason why is because we're looking at the cognitive abilities of the child, of the person. We're also looking at the parental environment. Um, yeah, cousin. I think that what happens in many different cases, just as kids are, right? And you've got a child also. We understand that our kids are trying to please us.
Hmm.
And so if we have a child and if people have children and placing undue influence based off of social popularity, which seems to be a thing. Popular trends are to be non-binary. Popular trend is to move into the transgendered social arena. Unfortunately,
Hmm.
even when it comes to psychology, there are a lot of psychologists who are influencing patients to go through with certain things instead of again giving objective information to people, right? I think it becomes very dangerous to mess with a child's mind at a specific age. And until they get to a point of development, a specific point of development, and they are able to shed the initial influences of the household, one second, of the household, until they have the ability to shed the initial influence of a household, they should not go through with any type of experimental medications, right? And they should not go through any type of actual transitioning. This is a lifelong decision that can't be simply done on the foundation of social appeasement, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely believe that people have the right to choose to identify with who they want to be. I have no issue with that. But the rush to do a lot of these things in today's environment does not seem genuine to me right now.
Mm.
What you got, man? I agree with that, Wanda.
That's a okay. Yeah, I like that plan too. Okay, here's my question.
Okay.
With transitioning, why does it only why is it solely focused on gender? So why can't I be a rich Asian man?
Oh, okay. I see where you're about to go with this.
This is my question. So we push back on that for some reason, but we allow the other one. Allow sounds really, it's not the proper phrasing, but it's what we allow, right?
Sure.
I can't be, if I want to identify as Elon Musk, better looking younger brother, right? Not gonna let me do that, right? Why? You know, that'd be my question. And if I go out there and start saying I'm Elon, um,
I'm through with you, Wanda. I'm through
you
with
go
you.
out there and start saying stuff like that, people will be quick to say that might be something wrong with our mental state, right? I
Yes.
think that it's just I do believe people are truly, they think they're born in their own bodies. I think that's that possibility exists,
Yeah.
right? I the way we handle it, I think makes it confusing for everybody, and it's making it more and more difficult as we try to normalize it.
Mhm.
It's causing more conflict than ever before.
Well, because I don't think it needs to be normalized.
I'm with you on that.
And I'm not saying that in the spirit of being vile or evil or
Mhm.
heinous or malicious. I don't think it needs to be normalized because it's not a normal thing. It's not a normal thought, right?
Right.
Very similar to what you were saying. Why can't I transition to a rich Asian man? That's
Mhm.
not normal. It's not a normal, acceptable thought.
Yeah.
Even if regardless of how you want to slice it up, because a lot of people try to play the social stratosphere with a lot of this stuff, right?
Mhm.
Well, gender is just a social construct, or race is just a social
Yeah,
construct. Okay,
yeah.
I
Okay.
got that, and
Mhm.
I can concede to that point.
Mhm.
But when we're operating in these social constructs, there are still norms. There are
Yeah.
still norms, and to call this a norm is very fictitious, and I think it's very disingenuous.
Mhm.
And it's the opposite end of the religious extremist, right?
Yes.
Whereas you have the thumpers of any religious platforms that are going to stand on the mountaintop and scream their religion at you,
Mhm.
right? Also have folks who are going to stand on their platforms on their mountaintops screaming that I'm going to be this and you have to accept it. I don't have to accept that. I don't have to accept anything if I don't want to. And to begin to epistolize it, I'm not going to come off of my personal convictions or beliefs to assuage essentially your feelings at the end of the day. Your feelings are not my responsibility, to make a long story short. So go ahead and do whatever you want, but these things still are not normal. Very similarly, so slavery isn't normal. I think racism is a mental disorder. I think bullying, right, in a certain fashion. I think so. These things, to me personally, fall
Yeah.
in a very similar plane as having a bit of a mental disorder. And
I'm,
that's
I'm
not
with
saying a bad thing.
I'm with you on that, man. You know what? He lost me with a swatch. It sounds like some doggone chitlin dish. Swatch, chitlins, and swine. I'm with you on that one. I'm with. I do think it's is gender dysphoria, right? I don't think those people should be shunned, though. I don't think that they should be treated like outcasts, right? I think there should be some type of, we should create some type of apparatus, some type of program to help them out. But it should not be normal, because that's where we get into all these conflicts. And I think I said it before. I've seen this dialogue happen on social media, where it's the men and more so invading women's spaces,
Yes.
not vice versa. Not so
Yes.
much vice versa.
Yeah. And that's the, again, we have to try and keep people safe
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
yeah.
And all a predator needs to be a predator is the opportunity,
Mhm.
regardless of the form that it comes in. Right? You can have a predator that will go through these extreme ladies, this is a part of men trying to keep y'all safe, right? And this isn't to press or push back against on anybody, but we're still men who want to keep you safe.
Mhm.
When men recognize predators, and when we do, we can kind of see the extreme steps that they'll take in order to become a predator. And there are men who will use this type of platforming simply to enact their malicious intent, right? Oh, well, then I'm identifying as a woman today so that I can go into a female bathroom and I'm going to cause harm. Well, take the prisoner who identified as a woman, went to prison and started knocking women up.
Mhm.
Excuse my phrase, and it could have been said better, but it's the truth,
Yeah.
right? So that's a dangerous part, keeping people safe. Even again, going back to sports, we know that if a biological man gets into, except for rugby, because there's some sisters in rugby that would
Man,
tell
listen, she was straight trucking people, man.
that would
I
tell
am
you,
scared. I respect her. Let me not
yeah,
say I'm scared of her. I don't want to get into that discord. I respect the hell out of her, man. She put in some training hours, months,
yeah,
years.
yeah, yeah. Except for rugby, rugby is going to be that fine
Full
line.
grown woman.
Yeah, but like boxing, you can't take somebody who identifies as a woman and put them in the ring with another biological woman.
No.
We see what that looks like.
Mhm.
Right. So again, like people are free to have their relationships with whoever they want to, as long as they're not harming somebody else or trying to force that belief on their ism on somebody else. That's fine. I have no issue with that. It's the forcing of that I don't
Yeah.
agree with. So
Yeah, you're right.
that's yeah.
I
So
think we
there's
pontificated on
I
that
think so.
point enough.
I agree. So the next administration should abandon this change, redefining sex to mean sexual orientation and gender identity in Title IX immediately across all departments. On its first day in office, the next administration should signal its intent to enter the rulemaking process to restore the Trump administration's Title IX regulation with the additional insistence that sex is properly understood as a fixed biological fact. Okay, official notice and commitment should be posted immediately. Yes, there was a boxer on Angela Lee's show who said she shouldn't though. She should not fight a dude. Should be posted immediately. At the same time, the political appointees in the Office for Civil Rights should be. Here we go. But okay, at the same time, the political appointees in the Office for Civil Rights should begin a full review of Title IX investigations that were conducted on the understanding that sex referred to gender identity and or sexual orientation. All ongoing investigations should be dropped. Wow. And all school districts affected should be given notice that they are free to drop any policy changes pursued under pressure from the Biden administration. That's going a bridge too far to me. I think that goes just a little bit too far. Storming, norming, conforming, and then performing. Like
There you go.
that goes a little bit too far. The OCR Assistant Secretary should prepare a report of OCR's actions for the new Secretary of Education, who should by speech or letter publicize the nature of the overreach engaged in by his predecessor. The Secretary should make it clear that FERPA allows parents full access to their children's educational records. So any practice of paperwork, I hate this word. I hate this word.
Obfuscation.
Obfuscation on this front violates federal law. So again, I think some of that begins to violate certain privacy movements. Now, I do understand why they say it, Uh, I'll have to think about that. I'll have to think about that though.
Yeah, I had to dig into that one.
Title, yeah, Title 6, School Discipline and Desperate Impact. Assuring a safe and orderly school environment, which is already a contradiction to what this is talking about.
Hmm.
Assuring a safe and orderly school environment should be a primary consideration for school leaders and district administrators. Unfortunately, federal overreach has pushed many school leaders to prioritize the pursuit of racial parity in school discipline indicators, such as detentions, suspensions, and expulsions over student safety. In 2014, the Obama administration issued a Dear Colleague letter that muddied the standard for civil rights enforcement under Title VI for student discipline cases. Before the DCL, a school would be in violation of federal law for treating black and white students differently for the same offense, desperate treatment. Under the Obama administration, schools were at risk of losing federal funding if they treated black and white students equally, but had aggregate differences in the rates of school discipline by race or desperate impact.
Hold
Okay.
on. I'm from Alabama. I need to read that one again. Under the Obama administration, schools are at risk of losing federal funding if they treated black and white students equally, but had aggregate differences in the rates of school discipline by race.
They're saying that they should be able. They want to remove the metrics so they can't show that black students are punished disproportionately than their white counterparts in schools for committing the same crimes. They want to remove that. They want to remove that as a federal thing, and more than likely, what I'm going to guess is that again they're going to try and leave it up to the state to properly legislate this. My question is, why would they want to remove that statistic? Why would they want to remove that? That's my question to that paragraph. Why is there a thought to remove that whole ordeal? And if you don't, right, if you don't treat black students equally to white students, why is there pushback that federal funding is going to be restricted? There has to be some type of incentive.
I don't. Okay, from my understanding, I'm not gathering that they want to remove the statistic. They want to remove the part where it seems like what they're saying is they want to treat everyone the same. Just reading this here. But if black kids act up more and they punish them more just because they're acting up more, they will be at risk of losing federal funding. It seems like what they're saying. So it's like they're trying to say, you have black and white kids. If black kids disobey the laws, regulations, policies in place at school at a higher rate than white kids, which makes it seem as though the school is punishing black kids, and they're saying they're not, they will lose federal funding. I don't think they want to do away with tracking that. They just want to change what happens, how that information is interpreted, is what I'm gathering from it.
Okay. So this is why I said I described the way I did. It said, unfortunately, federal overreach has pushed many school leaders to prioritize the pursuit of racial parity in school discipline indicators, such as detentions, suspensions, and expulsions over student safety.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
And
Okay.
so, yeah, they're trying to essentially, what it seems like, especially with that sentence, is that they're trying to make a case that black kids are more dangerous than white kids. And so they have to punish black kids more severely than their white counterparts, even when it comes to the same crimes. But removing those different areas of research, right, that shows this is a hindrance. They want to get rid of it. That's
I
what
see what you're saying. Yeah, now I'm piecing it together. I'm picking up what you're putting down now. Correction. I'm picking up what they're putting down.
Right.
Wow. Okay. I will say that our kids need help.
Okay.
We have a lot of single parent households. We got a lot of, I would venture to say the majority of parents, black parents, are trying to do good by their kids. Unfortunately, we have a large section of our households that are only ran by the mother. And she has to hold down 1, 1.5, 2 jobs to keep a roof over that kid's head, etc. Right?
Hmm.
So they do need more help. I think one of the things that I can't remember, I think they were trying to take away or reduce like after school care, right?
Yeah.
That would greatly help them out. Give
Latchkey.
after school, give those kids time to focus on their homework. So when they get home, they can actually bond with their parents instead of the mom trying to force the kid to do schoolwork, right?
Yeah.
So yes, that's a tough one because I feel like the programs need to be in place for kids in that situation. Unfortunately, more of us are in that situation than not.
I'm glad you put it like that. That did shape uh my understanding of what I just read.
Mhm.
And it did remind me that there is proposition in here to remove the latchkey programs, the after school, or not remove them, but restrict and restrict and rescind funding.
Suffocate them.
Yeah, suffocate them.
Hmm.
And now you have this on top of that. And to agree with your point, yeah, our kids need help.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Because
Our
I
kids
mean,
they need a new definition of who they are. First off,
facts. And
um,
I know this topic isn't on that, but I hate the heavy discord on blaming women entirely for that situation. You know what I'm saying? We have a role to play in that.
yeah,
Dr. Umar said something that I agree with, which I don't say that too often. But every once in a while, the crazy man makes a point. Every once in a while, Teflon Don makes a point, right? So,
okay. Point taken. Point taken.
right? In this case, Umar was challenging these. It was 3 podcasters that were against him, blaming women. He said, "Well, I don't see you guys going to school helping the black kids that are struggling
Mm,
in math and reading, which we just talked about in here. Um,
wow.
that's something we could do. That's something I've been looking at, trying to find a vehicle to volunteer in the financially distraught schools where unfortunately we're more likely to be at, right?
Yeah.
So that I say that to say that statement is heavy, man, because when I was in Cali, I used to work with Operation Hope, and I volunteered to go, hey, send me to the schools where we at,
Yeah.
us or minorities. You know what I'm saying? Don't send me to these rich Palo Alto,
Palo Alto.
Marin County school. Nah, man, send me where we at. Like, let me, let me
Yeah.
feel that energy again. And when I went there, right, I went to both. You had those kids, man, that don't have the vocabulary to speak what they really want to say. So they
Hmm.
act out in different ways or going through mental or emotional traumas that they don't know how to articulate, how to deal with, right? So they act out, right? Um, I'm not saying I'm the best at dealing with those, but I understood it, so I have more grace and patience with that, right?
Absolutely.
And more, I didn't have a bad class with that. So to that point, it's tough, man, because I can see, especially in high schools, that maybe have more white kids than black kids, but those black kids are acting out for different reasons.
Hmm.
I can see cases where those teachers are like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So it's heavy. That's all I'm gonna say with that. It's heavy. The way they're attacking it is not a good way. It requires more funding, more research, more support, not less, and not a stricter hand. Never in the history of mankind has adding more brute force, more authoritative policy ever led to a peaceful resolution.
Only to savages.
Hey, savages fight back too,
They do. No,
right?
what I'm saying is only a savage mindset would think of something like this.
Oh yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah.
So
That's a perfect point. That's a perfect point and a bit of a rebuke. Because I should be doing more. I
yeah,
should I
it's
should be
tough.
doing more.
It's tough. Yeah, I'm trying to find a way out here because I wanted to be non-religious. I found a lot of churches. I no, I love the work they're doing,
Yeah.
but I don't want the help I give to be limited by religious association. You know what I'm
Sure,
saying? Yeah.
sure, sure. And I agree with you. That's that. I got to do better with that
Mm.
because yeah, I absolutely detest hearing us black men just blame the whole issue on black women
Everything.
as if we didn't walk across the street when we saw a problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in some situations, you do have to walk across the street, right? But there are some situations where you can actually lend a hand and you can mentor and you can give a little extra patience, a little extra grace, a little extra mercy, so on and so forth, and try to insert a positive experience into that situation.
Yeah.
And that's a rebuke to myself, honestly, because that's something that I need to be seeking out to figure out how to do.
Yeah. It feels good, man. When I was in Cali doing it, it felt good, bro.
Yeah,
So I want to get back to that for sure. I want to be a part of the solution. However small role I play, at least I
yeah,
can say I added to it.
yeah. I have Wanda. I have discussions a lot with Key and some of her friends that are over in Japan when it comes to that. It looks like we're about to pause because this is I vehemently disagree with any man that says that the issues that we are facing are caused by our women and our women alone. I think that's a cowardice position to take.
These gray hairs I got it from women. All these gray hairs right here.
I think I think it lacks introspection, right?
It
And
does.
so I'll say this about myself, being a divorced man and a single father when I have my kids. I can't look back at my previous marriage and say that she was wrong for everything.
Hmm.
I cannot. I cannot. There are various different times that I know I could have interacted differently in and with. I know I could have. I know I could have. And I don't feel bad that I didn't because I think honestly the outcome where we are now was the best option for us and for our kids.
Right.
But that doesn't absolve me of any ills that I took part in inside of that marriage,
Hmm.
right? And if I never introspectively looked at things like that, I don't think I'd be in a position or a place to where I am in my current relationship,
Mm.
right? And I think black men, we've I understand what a lot of us are trying to say, but we have to become better communicators with it.
We're not the best at it. And with that, man, it's like we create a lot of these uh, the modern woman, right?
Holy
Uh,
cow.
we create that situation, man. Think about a woman loving you wholeheartedly, right? I'm speaking to my situation. Had
Yeah.
a woman love me wholeheartedly, and I was just slanging that thing, not exclusively to her, right?
Street meat.
S- Damn, man, I don't like to word it like that, bro.
They called him street meat. He was out here for the streets.
Oh, dang. Yeah, man. I was
Oh,
that street meat, that
oh,
bush meat, man. Yeah.
right, Wanda. It is what it is. It is what it is. I, it is.
Yeah, man. That's what it was, bro. I was out there slaying them and under the false pretenses of an exclusive relationship uh, with the girl I was with, right? And then when she found out, I'm blessed because she found out when I was asleep, bro.
Oh,
She played
oh,
Sherlock Holmes through the phone, and she
oh.
seen the evidence. Right, we were out of town, man. We were out of town. I woke up and she was gone. At first, I thought somebody kidnapped her, but when I looked around, I noticed all her stuff was gone, plus the rental car that was in my name.
Oh,
um, I pieced one and two and three together, and she was also kind enough to leave me a text message. She also was kind enough to message the women that I was
oh.
in my foray with, right?
Okay.
So my phone was pretty active for the next couple of days, man. But
Sure.
I say that to say, man, she was a wonderful woman
Yeah.
and did nothing wrong. Nothing. It was my mentality, man. And I think we talked about that before. That's why I appreciate respect the mentality you have. Not saying that you didn't have it before, you
I
know.
was treating me at one point in life.
Yeah, at one point, but since I known you, I can't say that you were like that. That was a chapter before I ever knew you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've been out upstanding and something that I would want to strive to. If a woman never takes me back and treats me seriously, man, that's I got that.
Right
but
on.
but it's all in the mentality, man. So I say that to say we bear a lot of the responsibility, but you don't hear that. It's not popular to blame black man. You make, like how you said, grifting with Trump. You make money blaming black women, man. It's like
Oh gosh, yeah,
next best money maker in the world. Bro.
yeah, yeah. I hate it. And maybe we should look into finding a panel, a
Mhm.
black man, and actually having this type of conversation, especially for those who do directly blame women for everything, just to get to the heart of it, right?
Yeah.
Because I absolutely agree. We have become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh yeah.
You know, we've treated our women horribly. Not, and this isn't taking any responsibility off of what women have done. But I'm not talking about women. I'm
Right.
talking about us as men.
Right.
I've treated women horribly.
Mhm.
I know I've broken hearts. I've had my heart broken. I've done silly, stupid stuff that I'm embarrassed to admit that I've
Mhm.
done.
Mhm.
Right. And at one point, I did try to reach out and try to mend those fences. And I've called people and I've apologized just to try and do better and be better and feel better. But that still doesn't mean that I didn't put somebody through an experience,
Mm.
right? I put, because I did put somebody through an experience,
Mhm.
regardless of where I was or how I was feeling or why I did it. I still did it to somebody else,
Right.
you know. And I think a lot of times we don't take a second as
Mhm.
men and just sit in that, like Wanda's saying, sit in it for a second
She
without
said a
trying.
whole minute. She said
Yeah,
a whole
because it's
yeah.
not always a defensive posture,
No.
right? It's simply introspection. And
Mhm.
it's work that we have to continue to try to do, because I don't, even today I don't get everything right, right?
No,
But I do try to do the right thing as best as possible and
Mhm.
take my blows and my lumps as I get them.
Mhm.
But that, I think, I'm gonna have to try and find some brothers who are bold enough and brave enough to be like, nah, it's all women's fault.
I
So
think that I think it's easy to find brothers that say that. I think it's harder to find brothers that are saying what we're saying.
you think so?
Because I mean, there's a whole podcast, YouTube genre of the dudes that say it's women's fault.
Really? I
Yep,
I'm not saying like I don't believe it. I'm
yeah,
saying I don't pay too much attention to that. So
yeah. I like the shorts, the clips. They're hilarious to me. So the algo has found my humor in it.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm saying that because I do want to relate that to the Project 2025 paragraph that we just read,
yeah,
right? Because that what the way you frame that is, by and large, it was spectacular, and it made me rethink what they're saying in this, and it got me to a foundational level of saying, whoa, how can I influence what they're trying to hinder?
yeah.
How can I? So for years I had been an advocate for music, because I've
Yeah.
always listened to different genres of music, and especially hip hop.
Mhm.
Uh, and I say an advocate lightly, because primarily with family and friends, because I would listen to rock in the age where listening to rock and being black, that wasn't a cool thing.
Bruh, I know my younger musical taste was not cool with the culture for sure.
Right. But I was a hip hop head.
Mhm.
There was no part of hip hop that I didn't go and I didn't explore. I used to tag, but I also used to listen to like Whitesnake
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
I listen to the old school Aerosmith,
Mhm.
or you catch me listening to Steely Dan, or you'd catch me listening to the Sultans of Swing, right? That type of stuff because I was into music. And so what I would do is I would try and say, well, then just listen to it. Or I'd listen to Stevie Wonder. I'd be listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire, right?
Mhm.
Which still wasn't a popular thing at the time because it should have been a specific type of music that we listened to.
Mhm.
It should have just been the NWAs. It should have just been the EPMDs, so on and
Yeah.
so forth.
Yeah.
But my thing was just listen to it for a second. And just because that's the way you feel about it, don't mean that I'm gonna stop doing what I do. And I
Mhm.
say that just to say if I can do that with music, that's something that I need to begin to learn how to insert myself in when it comes to this paragraph in and of itself.
Bruh, that was
Right.
I didn't mean to break you up, right? That was a wonderful transition right there. We were in Sif Dick, bruh. But hold on, let me explain what that means. So you just I can't believe I was just blurted out Sif Dick on
That
the
was that time
screen.
back. That was that time back. Yeah, yeah. Sifnick works. It
We gotta,
works.
it's an army instructional class. It teaches you how to teach in this new mythology the army is focusing on. So SIFDIC is an acronym. It's not. It's a terrible sounding acronym. I get it, but
Not to say it out loud. Yeah, outside of the Army parameters, and we saying it on here, people be like, "Sif, what?"
yeah, did he say sick dick? Oh, Queen was Queen, wonderful band. Every album had a unique and different sound and focus. Their creativity
Absolutely.
is still not appreciated. Um, but yeah, no, I like how you transition that. But the final point, we all need to do that, man. Because the world ain't black.
Say that.
Yeah.
Say that. Just because that's my perspective and my perception and what I experience doesn't mean that that's something that has to translate to everybody.
Right.
Yeah, that was profound. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, thank you for saying that. Because I can get caught up. Honestly, I can get caught up in my blackness.
Mhm.
And then my buddy Chris will send us a text about your mac and cheese, and I'd be like, my man, thank you for pulling me out of that. Because
Oh,
you're right.
man.
You're right. The world is not simply black. It's not. It's
Nah,
not.
and we've had the luxury of knowing some pretty awesome people that from other walks of life, man. Like Chris, man. And Justin, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Jason,
Yep.
all these cats, man, because of our profession.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And it's funny, I would love to know the background of the authors of this document.
Uh,
I bet you they grew up in silos. They grew up with blinders on. They didn't grow up having this multi-ethnic community they could tie to and go to and ask questions about, man. Yeah.
I'm writing that down because I am going to start looking into that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, man. They're all up in Vermont. Not saying Vermont's a bad state, but I don't know too many people of color that live in Vermont. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't think we made it that far. Not many of us. And if we did, we just kept pushing north into Canada.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Stopping for gas.
right. Let me hit this.
Okay.
We might have to come back to 335 because I think that's a perfect point to begin to end on, man. That statement you made about this paragraph and tying it back to the actual community and actually being able to be an influence where we are.
Yeah.
That's what's important. That's what's important. That's
Mhm.
why I paused there for so long because, man, it's a rebuke,
Mhm.
a good rebuke, right? It's a good stern rebuke. It's what we would call in the craft whispering good counsel in each other's ear.
Mm.
And it's something that I want to be involved in, and I need to be involved with, and I need to seek that. I'm glad we read that.
Mm.
I am down to the core of me. I'm glad we read that because I think we have something that we can give back to to our little
Oh, for sure.
brothers to keep them out of this.
Yeah, facts. I know some cats at my job now in the unit that'll probably come down with me. That's just thought. I'm not gonna say it never entered their mind, but to act on it, that part maybe for whatever reason the connection wasn't made. But if I could find the bridge, I know these brothers will be like, yeah, we'll do that for sure. It's just finding the bridge, finding the program to do it.
Yeah. Or starting it.
Ooh, hey,
You know,
hey, that sounds like a family bloodline type of deal right there too, man.
I'm all for it. I'm all
Yeah.
for it. I don't like I've moved past the stage of waiting for people to put us on.
Mm,
I think we're brilliant enough and we can put each other on ourselves.
yeah.
Right? So dang. I sent you a text earlier to ask you when a good time to meet, what day would be.
Oh, that's what that was. I misunderstood it.
Yeah.
I thought I was
And
referring to this streaming session.
no, because golly, that would be a powerful
Yeah.
tool.
Yeah.
That would be powerful.
And the name sinks right into it, man. You came up with a good name, bro. I don't that sounded like
I can't take credit for the
you
name.
did it.
My cousin Dirk came up with the family bloodline
Hey,
name.
Dirk's creative, man. I think he's missed out his calling, man. He needs to be in marketing or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, and you're right. Under like that could be an outreach program. Why do we got to talk about that a little more? Because I think it's something worthy to actually look into.
Yeah,
Goodness.
definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna set that up. That might become. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
We'll definitely further that because man,
I got some use or lose days coming up. I can actually focus on some of the stuff I'm adding in this notebook.
okay. All right, because I golly, that's man, that's got I got goosebumps thinking about that.
Yeah, that's pretty tight.
So yeah, we don't have to wait for anybody. We can establish our own program.
Facts.
We honestly can for both young men and young women. Again, we know some brilliant brothers. We know some brilliant sisters, and I'm pretty sure the majority of them will be on board to try and get this thing started.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that. So, all right. We stopped at 334. We didn't make much headway, but I think we had some great information about what we've been reading.
Facts.
And we'll continue the conversation. We'll continue the
335.
Yeah, 335. Bottom of 334, beginning of 335. Get ready for volleyball. Yeah. I need to know how it's going to go.
Oh,
Awesome.
we leftists.
Thank you for asking that, Liberty Twitcher. I am not a leftist. If I have to align myself with much of anything, it would be a constitutionalist.
Well, I haven't dug too deep into the categories. Leftist, I'm assuming, is liberal. Is liberal left?
Democrat. It's more of a democratic ideology.
Honestly, I'm more moderate, which is a term that's not even enunciated or pronounced anymore. But I think I'm a left-leaning moderate more so than a right-leaning moderate.
Sure. I don't know because when I've listened to you talk about economics, you have a pretty conservative outlook on economics.
Yeah.
So
maybe more right-leaning than moderate. Yeah. Liberals want stuff taken from
that's not true. That's not what a liberal is.
That's socialism.
It's a vague socialist statement. Yeah. I understand why you would say that. And thank you for saying that. Thank you for sharing. But what I would challenge you to do is to actually look up the movement of liberalism and socialism. Actually look up the construct of communist and look up the construct of Marxism, right? Because you'll be able to variously see the differences between the constructs and the actual movements of thought and understand them a little bit better. A lot of the things that we hear are partially true, especially when it comes to liberalism, when it
Mhm.
comes to conservatism, when it comes to the Democrats, right, or even moderates. A lot of that stuff, it's very loosely tied to the definition of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think my little light research, I don't think there's a true communist country.
there isn't
Yeah, there hasn't been. It's been more of
a theory.
different, yeah, theory and socialism and some other different. Yeah. Um. Let's see.
It's pretty simple. Liberals want higher taxes so they can have government programs and welfare.
Uh,
So when it comes to that, I will consider myself to be a bit of a liberal, right?
yeah.
And here's why. Because the government, a nation's government, is supposed to protect and govern the people, help a
Mhm.
government and assist governing the people. And the welfare of the people should always be the priority of the government.
Mhm.
And if the welfare of the people isn't the priority of the government, then we begin to dissolve into different factions, right? So if your people aren't the priority for your government and the welfare of that system and those people, those citizens, then what is the government doing? How is it? Does it become authoritarian? Is it totalitarianistic?
Mhm.
Is it which way do we go with that? That becomes the question.
And also, when you think about like welfare, right? You think, okay, welfare government programs, and I can see how a lot of people would tie that to blow the government spending, and to an extent, some are mismanaged. I see that argument, but you think about the government programs, and at its heyday, FDR used government programs in the welfare system partly to bring us out of the Great Depression,
Right.
right? And that made us a powerful and resourceful country again. And like with any good program, you can mismanage it and it could be abused. It could be left to rot and things of that nature and the bloat. But I'm not against government programs and welfare. I do think the program could be ran better, but
Yeah.
that's a lot to ask for any government program because they don't have to abide to the bottom line.
Hmm. That's true. Um, and it's not that liberals are the ones that want illegals to come to the country. Um, I think when it comes to that actual issue, there are some people that should not be coming across the southern border, the northern border, the eastern border, or the western border. And what I think people often forget is the majority of the illegals in the United States are those whose visas have expired. So they're not necessarily from the southern border. That's a point that's actually, and a fact that's actually missed when we're talking about illegals. But we'll take your topic into consideration, right, and talk about the southern border because that's really where you're at with this.
Yeah.
Um, there is a comment on the Statue of Liberty that is essentially calling peoples from other areas, from other nations, from other countries.
Mhm.
And it's a very patriotic stance for the Statue of Liberty to have, to spell out, to define, and to ask for. Give us your wretched, right? Give us your hurt peoples. Give us those. We'll make them better citizens. We'll make them better people. We'll
Mhm.
assimilate them into our citizenship, and not just that, but we'll respect their culture. We'll respect their language. This is a part of the Constitution. We'll respect their religion. We'll respect their background, and we'll assist in providing the resources, the availability of
Mhm.
economics, so that you can pursue happiness. You can pursue success. You can pursue liberty without having to be afraid of someone harming you on these aspects because you're different. Now, when we begin to simply focus on, let's talk. I'll be honest about what it is and how it was defined and described. Because again, we just said that President Obama was the deporter in chief. Yeah,
Mhm.
he was called the deporter in chief. But when you have people who are coming across the border in the fashion that they are,
Mhm.
uh, they're not coming up here just for gits and shiggles, right? They're trying to escape something. I'm not calling them the definition of a refugee, but it's an understanding that they are trying and wanting to do better and be better and
Mhm.
find some place safe to do that. And to all of a sudden begin to close qualified people off from that, or to describe them as murderers, as rapists, as not the nation's best, I think it hinders a person's ability to look at folks as simply being human and wanting to have a better life, the pursuit of life, liberty, and justice.
And I'm with you on that. I also, I guess, I appreciate. I know the Biden administration tried to streamline the process to become a legalized citizen. Right? They faced a lot of backlash in Congress for that. I don't know if it was the House or the Senate that blocked it, but one of them did, or if not both. So I appreciate that effort. However, I do realize that resources in any country are finite, right? They're not infinite. So we gotta. It's like letting people into your house. You're having a house party. You buy food, drinks, snacks for X amount of people. If double that shows up, it's putting stresses on your house, the resources, everything. So I understand that. There needs to be a pipeline to allow people to come in. We just gotta streamline it better and control it better. I think that'll help out some. I know Biden was trying to hit the root cause in Latin America. I think that's an apple that's a bit too big for America to bite off for. I think we should throw something at it, some problems at it. We should throw some resources at it, but that shouldn't be the only solution. I think he's been focusing mainly on that.
Yeah. I mean, like, here's an idea. How about having some type of a transcontinental railroad system to where people can get to jobs?
Yeah.
Right? And if you don't want to become a citizen of a country, you still have to pay the taxes if you're working there, but you stay in your country of origin. Right? That's not an oppositional thing, and that it actually nurtures growth economically for both countries. It's a joint effort. Both countries can benefit from it, and people can remain where they are, versus this bottom line effort of, oh yeah, you're illegal.
Well, you know what else can help that?
What's that?
I knew I had a point against that well-defined soliloquy you had about bringing jobs back. And let me say this correctly.
I'm not describing NAFTA. I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm not against having jobs. We need jobs here.
Yeah.
But the global economy, that can help, right? Why did I say Honda? Ford builds a factory in Mexico. It's providing jobs in Mexico. That's just a few less people that want to leave Mexico because they're making the right amount of money there, right? Granted, it takes the factory from here, so it's a give and a go. Even the Trans-American Railway that you speak of, in the way that we'll be taking jobs away from some Americans, although we know a lot of Americans don't want to do their work, neither here nor there, it will be taking opportunity for some Americans to take that. So no matter which way we slice it, it's a give and a go.
Absolutely.
And I think if America better understood that, which it would be tough for us too, because we keep shredding our education system, but
Yeah. And so I'm going back to the comment.
Yeah.
It says, I'm actually very liberal on immigration, but it doesn't work when there's a welfare magnet like in California. So I was in California for 9 years. How long did you live there?
Me?
Yeah.
About the same, broken up 9 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I will say is I don't like living in California.
I love it. I'm like, hold on. Why are you talking? I'm listening. Let me get my Cali hat.
I don't like the economics of California. I understand how big the economy is out there, but I think it's a stress. California is a strain.
Yo, I love this state, baby. Come on, come through. Let's do it.
I can't say I love California. Don't get me wrong. I had some of my best experiences in life, but the economy never made sense to me. The way the way it's laid out, right? But I think a lot of people who don't know California, who haven't been in California, don't actually see how big of an agricultural state it is. Right? There's farmlands and cows everywhere. We're driving up and down the 5. driving up 101 North to even try to get out of the state.
Mhm.
Right. Once you hit like Paradise, California, you hit a bunch of just rural areas where there's nothing but land and all that. That's beautiful too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what that means. You guys are the ones that want standards lowered in schools.
I was
No,
about to say he's
yeah,
losing me
that's
now because we clearly identified
yeah,
where we are in the political spectrum.
right.
And then he also said that he's very liberal in one of these comments. And
Yeah,
then he goes on to say it's the liberals that is destroying America. So now uh, he's losing me with that. I thought it was a respectable conversation, but now
it's devolving into who the person actually is.
yeah, I'm checked out. I'm
It's
checked out.
under
I thought
intent.
we can have a Discord on it, but I'm checked out. I'm done.
Let-
It doesn't make
so
sense.
let me talk to him about standards. Let me talk to him about the school system in general in
Yeah,
America, right? Which is actually piss poor
it is
countrywide.
overall. Yeah,
So it's not about increasing or lowering standards. It's actually about coming to a standard of education that's real. Because right now, if you look in Texas, right, Texas has a ton of independent school systems. Some of them are great, some of them not so great, but it's not a standardized system. And one of the reasons why America is being left behind in the dust scholastically is because our standards globally on the global scale are ridiculously low, and they're not being done that way because of people that look like me. I just need you to understand that, right? A lot of the
I don't.
standards. Go ahead.
I'm gonna take what he says for face value. I
Okay.
think that you guys is liberal because he's identifying us as liberal. I'm gonna
Oh,
say I'm gonna take it for face value.
sure, sure.
Yeah,
If you want to consider me something, since I actually told you that I'm more of a constitutionalist than anything, you can simply call me an independent. That might help you actually shape where I am on the political spectrum. I'm an independent. I don't believe in subscribing to any political party. And as I stated before, I think that when Americans begin to subscribe to any specific political party, you've taken the work from the politician to get your vote, and
you
you'll
handicap
never be able
yourself.
to get that. You'll never be able to get. You'll never be able to make them work for you. You'll never be able to make them work for your vote, so on and so forth. I won't say that you like me. I'm on my Kendrick Lamar. I can't
Ain't
lump my
not.
with you. I can't lump myself with you. I don't know you that well. I can't give you that about me, right? What I will, I will indulge in, as it were, is your ability or your drive to want to actually say stuff, regardless of it being surface level or in depth or just throwing some stuff out there to, I guess, get reactions out of us that you're not getting. But
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, it's some points because I'm confused because now he says he's or they, I don't know if it's a he or she, say that they are independent, but before there was a comment that said that they're very liberal.
right,
So
you're you're not bringing up issues that liberals cause. You're bringing up issues that Americans cause.
yeah,
And that's the misdefinition of what you've done, right? You've subscribed a specific issue to one section or one group of people. Again, so what I would again, here's my challenge to you.
Mhm.
Go out and read some James Baldwin and understand James Baldwin when he talks about, or do some YouTubes on James Baldwin and his speeches. Uh, but understand when he says and this is paraphrasing, we're either going to survive and be successful together talking about America, or we're all going to perish together,
Mhm.
right? And what you're doing is you're dividing us into these movements to where one you're giving the scapegoat.
Mhm.
You're giving the scapegoat, and you're saying that one group of people is causing an issue when it's not. It's Americans in general that are causing these issues.
Yeah.
So, which non-liberal is trying to lower school standards? Which non-liberal is not prosecuting criminals?
What like he said, it's not just liberals, which I'm assuming you're associating with Democrats. It's both parties, but the document we're reading right now, which is written by the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative
Yeah.
party, which just so happens conservatism majority lies within the Republican framework. there's things in here that's damaging to American education system, but I'm pretty sure the Democrats also that they haven't helped the American school system. So we're not saying that Democrats one side's better than the other.
Hmm.
Your point before, when you pick one party or align with just a party, you're tying your hand behind your back, and you're not
Yeah.
making the politicians work. It's allowing a two-party system to the
To dominate.
corporations to dominate America. Two-party
Yeah.
system. Yeah,
That's what it comes down to being, right? When again, you're not lobbying for Americans at large.
yeah,
You're lobbying for a party, and it looks like you're doing it for free. Unfortunately, people get paid big bucks for what you're doing, my man or my lady.
yeah.
All right. So don't lobby for any of these parties whatsoever. You'll do yourself a better service by doing that.
Mm,
Right. And even again, when it comes to the education system, both parties are ridiculous when it comes to that. When it comes to the criminality of American citizens at large,
mm,
both parties, right? And this is something that I need people to understand through and through.
mm,
As a black man who's grown up in America all of his life,
mm,
I know 100% sure that not the Republican Party nor the Democratic Party, neither one of them have a monopoly over racism, over hatred, or over love.
mm.
And for me to go into this thing and think that the Republicans are better than the Democrats or the Democrats are better than Republicans, that's foolishness.
Yeah. I don't get these comments
Betsy
anymore.
DeVos, right? She was trying to kill the education system.
Yeah. And he said they, I don't like we said, we don't know the gender. Say that Republicans, what was it? I'm gonna read it exactly. Liberals, bureaucracy. They said something that's news to them that were conservatives are trying to destroy I forgot what was
Oh,
it.
he said name one Republican that's trying to lower the standards.
But what the document that we're reviewing that was originally the purpose of this series, I just invite you to read or join in next week. So when we read Project 2025, we're giving you the facts. We're trying to remain objective with it, and just make your own opinion of it. You know,
Yeah,
I just invite you to read that first before you make it. And if you have, okay, then so be it. But read those first. Read that document first.
yeah, and I don't want you to think that we're going to be persuaded by ad hominems or be suckered into ad hominems, right?
Mhm.
By you simply mentioning Deuce doesn't get some of the comments. Now you're implying that your intelligence is above his, right? I read between the lines. I get what you're saying directly, and it's just simply not true. If you want me to simply go ahead and state where and how the Republican Party has tried to lower standards in schooling, I will. And
Mhm.
what that looks like is banning books. You're welcome. That
Mhm.
answers your question directly.
Boom.
I just answered it.
Yeah. They're doing it
Anybody,
all in Florida.
yeah, they've been doing it in Florida,
Mhm.
right? DeSantis was a huge proponent of that. He's been he was campaigning on that end, having book burnings,
Mhm.
right? That's No, that's not true either. Because
Yeah.
they've been the Republican Party. There are members of the Republican Party or the conservative branch of the Republican Party who have begun to lobby to change what the enslaved peoples of America went
Mhm.
through and make it a feel good story. There are branches of the Republican Conservative Party who have tried to take the lengths of actually writing out Malcolm X in history,
Mhm.
writing out Stokely Carmichael in history, writing out the Black Panther Party in history, writing out the 1963 to 65 civil rights movement in history. They've been a huge proponent of changing Malcolm X's story in and of itself. So that's again, these are topics that I understand you might be passionate about, but I
Mhm.
ask that you go and you make yourself a bit smarter on, because it's not a good look for you right now. It's
And
really showing your intent. Go ahead,
and
Bruce.
just for reference, we're talking about Florida. I just implore you to go look at House Bill 1467, which is a Florida State House bill,
Hmm.
and banned some bills. Yes, to your point, there were some books that they deemed as pornographic, but to my knowledge, Toni Morrison hasn't written a pornographic book. And
Ever.
3 books on her 3 books that she wrote on his list, right? So I would just implore you to go read that state bill and then read the books that Florida is banning. So yeah, you got a point in a few were pornographic, but a lot of them were not.
Right. And if we're going if we're going to base this off of a movement or a genre of porn, regardless of the category that you're pulling it in, that means the Bible has to be taken out also,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there are very descriptive uh, passages in the Bible that describe a woman's breast, describe a woman's body,
Mm-hmm.
that describes men having husbands killed
Mm-hmm.
because of like that's again it's I think you're teetering on an edge of what somebody told you, but you haven't gone in to actually look at these things objectively. And this is how we started the actual podcast out at, like talking about objectivity and subjectivity.
Yeah. And I mean,
No, what's used is lowered standards. Yeah, if you're lowering the standard of history
mm-hmm.
in America because you're afraid that it's going to hurt some children's feelings, you're lowering a standard. I don't care what metrics you try to measure it by, you're still lowering a standard. Yeah, and I agree that younger people aren't learning nearly as much as we did. I don't disagree with that. They're also learning differently. So I don't agree with that. I think they're learning differently, um, and in some ways they're learning better than what we did. But again, that's not a Republican or Democratic issue. That's an American societal issue.
I mean, if you look back, the American education system, man, it's JD Rockefeller, right? JD, not JK, right? JD Rockefeller had a huge hand
Oh my goodness,
in
yeah.
crafting our education system as it is now. So it's not like it's not a Republican or Democrat.
Why do you
It's
kill me?
making making
At the end of the day gonna end was one of the conversations.
for real. Look, basically is making Americans employers instead of employees instead of employers, right? Making us all worker bees. That's what they want. Because remember, above any political party, Democrat, Republican, is capitalism at the end of the day. In order for capitalism to thrive, right, you got to have workers. You got to have dumb workers, right? And so when you say that it's only the Dems trying to hold back Asians,
That's
that's
wild.
insane.
That is wild.
Wow.
I mean, there was an anti-Asian hate bill passed faster than anything I've ever seen done for any civil rights platform
Yeah.
not too long ago.
Yeah. That's
That is
so
wild.
just a quick Google search, right? Who authored the Asian hate bill, right? I'm gonna murder the name, Mazzy something. It was a Democrat from Hawaii and
Yeah,
a Democrat from New York that authored the anti-Asian hate bill, right? To protect Asians against hate. So there were Democrats. I don't understand what you're saying here.
we are Spartans. Like my man, my friend, my fellow human being. The claims that you are making are absolutely wild, and I'm not trying to just like I'm not what we call send sable rounds down range, but I'm not trying to hurl or just sharpshoot anything that you're putting out there, right? That's not what I'm doing. Again, what I'm trying to bring an attention to is the pivot to make one party better than the other. When at the end, like they're not better than the other. They're both systems that function off the ignorance of the American people.
Mhm.
That's what's happening. And so to simply say, oh, it's the Democrats who are trying to lower the standard, right? Or it's the Republicans that are just pushing hate.
Mhm.
Those aren't true statements. Those are very subjective, right? Those and again, it's this is an American societal issue that we have to fix. And to rely on politicians to fix our issues is asinine. It's absolutely insane. They no longer have to work for our votes.
Mhm.
because the majority of Americans simply give themselves over to a party their, in their loyalties, and they
We're
no
more,
longer have to work for the votes.
we're more divided than ever. Bipartisanship doesn't even exist. It
Right.
existed under the older Bush. The last time bipartisanship actually existed was under Clinton, and it started to fade under Clinton because they didn't like what they call the hillbilly being in office, and we hardly have bipartisanship. That's why I think I don't know if it was Biden. The Congresses under Trump and Biden passed the least amount of bills in governmental history, which is
The
insane.
most, yeah, the most do
Yeah.
nothing Congresses ever. The most do nothing Congresses.
Where are we? Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's that. I mean, the art of pivot is strong in this one.
I love it. So instead of placing blame where it belongs, it seems you feel it's easier to assume that anyone's at fault. So since we're not siding with you and saying that liberals, Democrats are at fault for the fallacies of America, we're saying that both parties are to blame. That's not you don't agree with that. So, okay, I got you. I see where you're going.
Right. So I hope you continue to tune in, and not
Yeah.
just that, but you can't on Twitch, you can't hop on the live, but if you go to YouTube and you hit the link in YouTube, you'll be able to hop on with us and actually, and you ain't even got to show your face, but we'd like to at least hear your voice. That way we can get the sentiment behind what you're saying.
Yeah, because this point here, he was talking about that because we went with Asian hate, but he's talking about affirmative action. Or they are talking about affirmative action.
Yeah. I knew where they were going, but I brushed over it on purpose. And the reason why there's a lot of pushback against affirmative action right now is because some people are finally understanding what we've been trying to tell them for decades, and then they're just not feeling it. We've been saying, look, our culture has been telling a lot of people a lot of different things for decades, but they didn't want to believe it because of the proximity, because of a proximity issue.
Yeah. And so he's saying that Asians were held back by affirmative action when really you got to look at the legacy students that we're getting in. Because I'm guessing you're talking about Ivy League schools.
Yeah.
Which is the only thing that I was talking about.
Primarily.
Yeah. You got to look at the legacy students and just look at the actual numbers. Right. And it's funny how you're trying to morph the existence of affirmative action to Asian hate. I don't see the connection there. I mean, I know why you're doing it because that's what they use to try to defeat it. I see why you're doing it, but it's funny how there's really no evidence to. I would like to see the evidence that you're using to support that claim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did. That's what you were alluding to when talking about the Supreme Court, and you're talking about affirmative action, and then you were talking about the Asian hate crime bill, right? That's literally what you were talking about. And I don't pivot away from it. Again, this isn't sharpshooting you. It's simply filling in the gaps to what it looks like you're missing. I don't. Who's okay? So now I'm going to play devil's advocate. Now I'm going to play. Why are you being a victim and why are you feeling oppressed?
They say they're oppressed.
That's what they're sounding like a victim.
Yeah, facts. Yeah.
They're sounding like a victim. Well, I mean, everything that you're putting on here now seems victim-y.
Yeah. You know what? And because they said Asian achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I said victim-y. I'm glad you got a sense of humor still. And so again, we're not against the people. What we've been describing and what we've been reading and what we've been talking about is actually what it should look like and sound like when you are actually for the people. And the people taking ownership of the mess that we're in now. Right? We're the ones who have elected the people that are in office. They didn't put themselves there. So we've got to own that, take onus of it. And if we want to see something different, we have to vote different.
I mean, we have people sitting in office like what in the 80s and 90s.
Oh,
Never had a competition in the district. It's insane.
it's absolutely insane. But I am against Asians if I agree that it's okay for Asians to be held back, which is what the left argued all the way to the Supreme Court. That's not what the left argued.
It's not at
It, it,
all.
it isn't. And so I will directly say that I am not against Asians. One of my most favorite people in the world is my Aunt Tina, who's from South Korea, married to my uncle. And I've got 3 cousins that are mixed. And I grew up with her. I'd be foolish to spit in her face. I respect her too much. I respect her way too much to do that. So no, that's not what I'm saying, and I won't allow you to put words in my mouth either.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm articulate enough to say what I mean and mean what I say. So, but we've been on this Joker for 2 hours and 10 minutes, and Liberty Twitch. I tell you what, I absolutely enjoyed conversing with you, and I hope you hop on with us again next week Wednesday, same bad time, same bad channel at 7:30. We love Chinese food. Shout out to St. Louis.
Oh man!
About that the other day.
Oh man!
I did. But yeah, come holler at us. Come holler at us. We're not saying that we're more intelligent or least intelligent than anybody, and we're always more than welcome. Any agreeing opinions or dissenting opinions. That's what it's all about. And that's how we progress and move forward, and we figure this stuff out.
Yeah, it would be okay for anybody to excel in their superior achievement. So
hell, China killed it in the Olympics this year. By the way, just wanted to throw that out there. They was like sleeper cells killing it.
And so the topic, if you tune in to this same bat time, same bat channel, we'll start back off with Project 2025. But if you tune in on Friday, it's a more of a rotating topic.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because the topic for this Friday, I think we're going to end up doing. We switched the topic. At first, I was going to talk about Jordan Childs, or we were going to talk about Jordan Childs and her having to get back her bronze medal. However, as it came to me through text message today, I thought it was a brilliant topic, an absolutely brilliant topic. It is. I've been dealing with meeting. Hold on.
Well, and while you're looking that up, the Supreme Court didn't protect, or the hate bill was what I was referring to, was passed through Congress. Yeah, I agree with that. When you say protect Asians, you're talking about the Supreme Court. That was just removing affirmative action.
Yeah,
I can't say that was to protect Asians. To protect Asians was the anti-hate bill that Congress passed.
Yeah, I think they're conflating the two.
Yeah. But when you say protect Asians, my mind naturally goes to the anti-hate bill, but you're trying to tie it to affirmative action. So the bill, was for, but you keep saying protect Asians. So
there's
hate.
Yeah, because there's inference when you use certain words, right?
Yeah.
If you have to protect somebody against something or someone, especially in the context of what we're talking about, you would automatically defer to the Asian hate crime bill, because that was the direct result of our brothers and sisters of the Asian persuasion being harmed.
Yeah. So when you say protection, I know you keep talking, you're referring to the affirmative action one. I wouldn't say it was to protect them. Yes, they were the centerpiece of it, but they weren't getting attacked like they were to protect them with the anti-hate bill.
Right.
Yeah. And now you're just trying to connect it to, okay.
Yeah. So when it comes to the Supreme Court, you're directly talking about affirmative action.
Yeah.
Just to throw that out there, these are two different things. The affirmative action and then the bill passed through Congress, right? Which was the protection bill. So you're merging the two together when you don't necessarily need to, and I think that might be the issue.
Yeah, because when you say protect,
nobody's hating on any Asian achievement. I don't
Yeah.
understand. Maybe we're missing you. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. When I say hate, I'm referring to the anti-hate bill. So when you say protect, my first inference is to think that a portion of people are being attacked. And from what I remember, Asians were being attacked. I remember in San Francisco, they had those videos going out there, and in New York, right?
Mhm.
So protect. So now you're saying something different because before you were saying protect Asians, and now you're saying Asian achievement. When they removed the affirmative action, that one guy or girl, I forget her name, was the centerpiece of that case. But the arguments for removing it was to protect everyone's scholastic achievement.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just to say, "Hey, Asians only," right? Which is what this dialogue is. Well, I'm taking from this, which would be better if you were just on to speak to it. Uh,
Absolutely.
it's hard to text type. I know how it's hard to relay points in that method.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So yeah, come back on and holler at us.
Yeah.
But the topic for Friday is going to be where is it? Being oh being raised in love or survival
Being raised in love on survival.
or survival.
Okay.
Right.
Like as if I have a choice. Are we talking about people that went through those different what's the context?
Is there a difference when
Ah,
people are raised in love
yeah.
versus being raised in survival? Can they come to the same points of evolution, as it were, or is it what's the difference between the two? And I know it kind of gets into nurture versus nature, but being raised in a house of love versus being raised in a house of survival.
Okay, I missed the were you part. I just heard love or survival. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
being
tracking now. I'm picking up what you're putting down, baby.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah. Liberty Twitcher. Yep, that's it.
yeah.
So a house of survival would be likened to um essentially, and this is just my definition, and hopefully my cohorts when they get on there, they'll have their own definitions. Yeah, it's levels to this shit for real. But if you single household or even with two-parent household,
Yeah.
but your water's off, but your lights are on, your lights are off, but your gas is off. The hand-me-downs have been resewn 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And in order to eat, you're going whatever you find on the streets, that's gonna be your meal, right? That's a survival type of mindset. That's a survival house that's trying to get it in the best way you can and figure out how to live. But like Cuzzo said, it's levels to it, right? Versus being raised in a house of built on love, which isn't always in the best interest because that sometimes love removes the struggle of evolution.
Mm.
Sometimes we have, but I won't get into it too much.
Yeah,
I'm
you diving
my
deep. You
thoughts on
diving deep. Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yes, it absolutely can. It absolutely can.
And
And
watch
so
the show
that's
Good Times.
yeah, good times for sure. And so
Perfect example.
that's what we're gonna be talking about Friday. That's what we're
Yeah.
talking about Friday. And I'll actually put up the information tomorrow to advertise the times and the places where you can watch us.
Mm.
Yeah. Hey, we Liberty Twitch Up. We want you to
Come on.
come on, holla,
Yeah.
hang out with us. We ain't finna yell at you. We're
No.
not gonna belittle you. We're not finna insult you. We just gonna talk it out. And we'll all poke holes in each other's theories. That's
Mhm.
part of progression.
Yeah, we attack the ideal, not the person.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking bad about Alabama football, which is I would not entertain such dialogue. Well, no, you might highlight some points that we're missing. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
now, don't even come into it with that that perspective. I think I learned a lot during debate, a friendly debate, not where you start attacking people, attacking ideals. Because sometimes somebody says something, I'm like, I never thought about it from that avenue.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Right. So it's always from a curiosity standpoint and
Mhm.
not ad hominems. So follow us, subscribe to us. It's all the family bloodline On Wednesdays, you got Jay Glass of Movement and Deuce. On Fridays, you got Jay Glass of Movements and you got Dirt and your girl Wanda. And then on Mondays, we're going to be introducing something else, but that's going to be coming in sometime soon.
When somebody supposed to be playing volleyball?
Right.
I'm just trying to remember.
I'm putting this up. I'm putting it Bama Schmamma.
Yeah, that's what caught my attention. They had enough time to spread some Alabama football hate while you're supposed to be out there. That's volleyballing, right? See,
but it's
y'all get that. Y'all catch that L. We know why.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. He calling it bad juju. Usually we do final thoughts, but I gotta go. I gotta call my lady. It's 9:50 here.
Oh man, yeah, 9:50 here too, man. I gotta finish meal prepping. Which,
yeah,
gotta stop eating this fast food, man. It's poison.
Man, that stuff will tear you up. That stuff will tear you up.
Now, what time zone you in? Now, we East Coast. Oh, damn it! See, that's Central. Alabama in me.
Yeah, podcast.
Hey, I need to go to sleep, man.
Wanda. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So, but we definitely appreciate everybody hanging out with us on all these different social media platforms, be it TikTok, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, so on and so forth. We absolutely appreciate you. Make sure you hit us on YouTube, like and subscribe. And don't forget that we do have an actual TV channel on stream.com/the FBO podcast /the family bloodline, where you can catch all of our podcasts playing over and over, as well as exclusive artists, as well as exclusive interviews with like the music industry's top tier artists and producers. Like I just posted one of Keith Ross. If you don't know who Keith Ross is, I highly recommend you go in and you look him up, and you might be fascinated about some things with that man. He's awesome. He's absolutely awesome. So again, thank y'all for coming out. And you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to hang out with us for a bit, and we appreciate it. So with that being said, God bless and good night.